they don't like that, that's their problem.
Let them come on over. Let them come on stage with the black man. I'm gonna let Black Lives Matter come up here while I show them what patriotism is about, all right?
It's about freedom of speech. It's about celebration. So what we are going to do is something you're not used to, and we're going to give you 2 minutes of our platform to put your message out. Now, whether they disagree or agree with your message is irrelevant. It's the fact that you have the right to have the message.
I am an American. And the beauty of America is that when you see something broke in your country, you can mobilize to fix it. So you ask why there's a Black Lives Matter? Because you can watch a black man die and be choked to death on television and nothing happens. We need to address that. You need to fix it. We are not anti-cop. We are anti-bad cop. We say if a cop is bad, he needs to get fired like a bad plumber, like a bad lawyer, like a bad fucking politician. We don't want handouts. We don't want anything that's yours. We want our God-given right to freedom, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I want to leave you with this, and I'm gone. You're right, my brother. You're right. You are so right. All lives matter, right? But when a black life is lost, we get no justice. That's why we say Black Lives Matter. That's why we say Black Lives Matter.
You don't care, man.
And we really want to make America great. We do it together.
All right.
USA! 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 USA!
Hey y'all, this is Jackie Lukman.
And I'm Abdul Shahid Lukman.
He's over there in the corner. There he is.
Yep, here I am.
So we decided we had to do a show tonight because we haven't done a studio show in a minute. Because we've been out doing stuff. Hey everybody on YouTube. Hey everybody on Facebook. Hey everybody who's joining us on Twitter. I'm just so. Let me just get into this. The video we just played is being shared. It's from Now This Politics, and it came from the Mother of All rallies this past Saturday. As you guys may know, we were in Richmond at the protest against the Confederate monuments to take those down. Some pro-Confederate monument people came into town, and we were there supporting our friends at the Virginia Defenders to take those monuments down. And while that was going on, we had already committed to go to Richmond when we found out about this Mother of All rallies.
Yeah, we missed all the fun.
We missed all the fun because we had fun in Richmond,
yeah.
but this mess oh my God, I wish we were there, because as soon as that brother came off that stage, he would have gotten all kinds of pieces of our minds. First of all, I have no problem with Black people having conversations with people on the opposite end of the political and social spectrum. That's fine. That's wonderful. Nobody cares about that. That's great. That's what you want to do. That's what you do. Oh, now it works. the other monitor. That's great. That's fine. That's what you want to do.
That's why we need patrons.
Exactly.
So we can update our equipment.
Yeah, so we can get out of like 1960s Soviet style CRT. It's not that bad, but it's pretty old stuff. So, I mean, that's fine that he wanted to take the, that he wanted to take the opportunity to speak to these people at this rally. That's cool. Okay. Although I agree with Dr. Jason Nichols, who said in his live stream last week that he doesn't believe in debating with members of the alt-right, with Trump supporters, with racists. And I agree with him, and I think you agree with him too. Because our job is not to change people's mind. We're beyond that now. This argument has been the same for 400 years. Nothing's changed. There's no changing people's minds that we need to do with an argument that's 4 centuries old. It's not, nothing about what we're fighting for is different from what we've been fighting for decades before now, centuries before now, and that in itself is ridiculous. So the idea that black people are the ones who need to do the work of changing people's minds about an issue that has been an issue for 4 centuries since this country has existed, that's just the worst kind of kicking the can down the road, avoiding and evading responsibility for whose problem white supremacy and racism really is. It's not our problem. It's white people's problem. Okay? All right. But okay, they wanted to take this opportunity to have this dialogue with these people. That's all fine and good. I just don't like what he said. Because what he said was so inadequate. And it really just did not, it watered down the issue so much. First of all, this brother gets up there and he talks about how he makes sure to say to this crowd of people who believe that they're more patriotic than anybody else. See, they believe that they identify themselves as American before they're anything else, when they don't even recognize that they identify themselves by their whiteness more than they do anything else. But okay, let's just go with the argument that, that he's trying to appeal to their patriotism. As a black person, that's a BS argument to start from in the first place. Because when he said, I'm an American, there was all this cheering. They were all, yay, I'm an American. Please understand that they were not cheering because he was identifying as an American. That's not why they were cheering. They were cheering because he was making his blackness secondary to his being an American. They were cheering because, oh yay, this black man says that he's an American first, like he's dismissing his blackness. And I know y'all are like, well, Jackie, that's a stretch. No, it's not. When you look at the video and you see the way people responded to the next things he said. Because he then said, the great thing about America is that when we see a problem, we can mobilize together and fix it. And the problem that you can see a black man killed on video, you can see a black man choked on video and nothing is done about it. We need to fix that. Now, he had just said, I'm an American. And all the people, yeah, and this big old flag in the background, waving back and forth. But as soon as he said there is something wrong with a black man being choked on video by the police, we need to fix that, then all of a sudden the very same people who cheered him, now they're booing him. So these people don't even realize that they don't even identify with Americanness like they think they do. They identify with whiteness. And this cheering that they did of him, they weren't cheering him because they were cheering his patriotism. They were cheering him because they believed at the time when he said that he was diminishing his blackness in favor of Americanness. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the idea that we can enter into any kind of discussion with people and diminish who we are in relation to the history of our struggle in this country, that handicaps us from the beginning. It handicaps us out the gate because they won't listen beyond that. As soon as we identify with whatever it is that's important to them first, everything else we say about us that comes after that goes out the window. Out the window. And that's exactly what that response was. So then the next thing he said was, the whole appealing to, we're not anti-cop. We're anti-bad cop.
Yeah, somebody know and say, "Oh yes, you are."
And see, that was the thing. And some of the comments, if you go to the Now This Facebook page, you can find the video. I'll put the link up so you can get to the video, and you see the comments in the video, and people are like, "Oh, it was just one person." Stop being disingenuous, y'all. It wasn't just one person who was shouting down that man. It was most of the people in that crowd. Now, to be fair, the crowd was like 150, around 200 people.
Yeah, they didn't get the numbers they were expecting.
Yeah, so it's not like we're talking about 10,000 people out there, but still, we're talking about having a dialogue with people, and it's supposed to be our job to change these people's minds, but we're not paying attention to how these people are responding to what this man is saying. To give us an indication that we ain't changing, their minds are not being changed. And the idea that we can say these pleasant things that are going to pierce their hard and stony hearts, and they're going to go home and think, maybe I'm wrong about these Black lives. Let me tell you what's not going to happen. They're not going to vote any differently from the way they've been voting.
No.
Just because I forgot. Oh, Hawk Newsom, that's his name. He's the president of Black Lives Matter New York, which is this group.
They were down in Richmond with us.
They were down in Richmond with us also. And don't let me forget to make a little side note about Black Lives Matter New York, because we're also in a weird place in Black struggle, where Black people are kind of afraid to criticize Black Lives Matter at all. And I think that's crazy, because when people, I don't care who you are, when people misstep, you've gotta be able to say to people who misstep, okay, that's not cool, so that they don't keep doing it and causing more damage. I mean, that's true of us. That's true of politicians.
Yeah, no one's above what's a reproach.
Yeah, no, nobody should be above reproach. So let me stick a pin in that, boop, and get back to that in a minute or two. So then he goes on the we're not anti-cop kick. We're anti-bad cop. And honestly, I have to be really honest. After he said that, I really just kind of toned out, because I just got so angry that he reduced this situation that we are facing in this country to bad cop. This is more than bad cops, y'all. We're talking about murderers with badges and guns and authority, and prosecutors, judges, and police unions and politicians behind them, making sure that they get away with murder. This is not just bad. Words are really important, extremely important, when we're talking about the struggle for liberation, equality, and justice, and equal protection under the law. And again, if you go to the video, you'll see people in their comments, because they focus on one lady who says, no, he was a criminal, when he was talking about right. The black man being choked. And you hear people in the crowd when he says, we're not anti-cop, and then a bunch of people respond to him saying, yes, you are. And that wasn't just one person. That was most of the people in that. The only time you really heard most of the people in that crowd cheering for him was when he declared, I'm an American. And then at the end of the statement, where he talks about they're not anti-cop, when he says, bad cops should be fired, just like bad plumbers, just like bad, and then he says, just like bad fucking politicians. Yeah. Oh, and then it was like a little more than maybe half the crowd. Even still, at that point, people realized that he was not standing there saying, we're on your side, we understand what we're identifying with you. He's still talking about this black stuff. So people had already, most of the people in that crowd were like, well, we're done. We're done. And you could hear it in the responses. But people who responded to this video and people who have been sharing this garbage have been just fallen over themselves, praising what was done. Oh, this is how you do it. This is how we solve our problems. This is the kind of communication we need to have, as if it's black people's job to fix this. If anybody should have been having a conversation with these people at this rally about Black Lives Matter and this issue, let me tell you who it shouldn't have been. It shouldn't have been us. That's just how I feel. I feel like if anybody should have been up there having a conversation about what white people need to understand about racism and racial violence and racially motivated violence on behalf of law enforcement, it should be white people who are educating other white people on what they don't get. The responsibility needs to be taken off of our backs for this problem that white people continue to perpetrate. And let me tell you why white people continue to perpetrate this problem. Because it's white people who keep voting for politicians who keep making black people the problem. And it is white people.
I mean, they keep falling for the okie doke.
They do. I mean, all of the reason Donald Trump is the president of the United States now is because all those white people fell for the okie doke. Again. Year after year after year, election, and I'm not just talking about the presidential elections either. I mean the congressional elections and every election in between. You've got a bunch of white people who say they understand racism, and they understand racism is a problem, and it's something needs to be done about it. But when it comes down to the nitty-gritty, when it comes down to supporting politicians who will pass policies and institute procedures and change procedures and challenge the status quo in regard to how black people are dealt with in the system, most white people will not vote for politicians who will do that. That has been true in this country since this country has had elections. And you've got a lot of progressive white people sharing this video. That's my real problem. See, I expect people on the right to respond, because at the end, people are like, oh, well, people wanted to take pictures with him, and people were, okay, so they take a picture with Hawk Newsome, and they take it home to their friends and their families, and they say, see, I took a picture with a black guy, I'm not racist. But in the next election, they still vote for the GOP or the alt-right supporting politician who perpetuates the narrative that those black and brown people are the reason you don't have anything. What was done at this rally by Hawk Newsome didn't change anything. Oh, and then he goes into, we don't want handouts. We don't want anything that's you. I am so sick and tired of black people trying to make white people comfortable with the idea that we are owed economic redress in this country, and that we're not really mad at them. And that's, that's our anger at them is not how we're gonna. I'm tired of black people being the apologists for our valid and just demands for not just equality and justice, but for reparations in this. I'm tired of black folks.
Oh, he wasn't going to say that. He knew.
He couldn't.
Oh, they'll have his head if he got up there and said that.
Yeah, so I mean, that's why he had to say, we don't want handouts. We don't want anything that's yours. Nobody gets more handouts than rich white men in this country. Nobody gets more handouts in the form of tax breaks than the heads of corporations.
And especially if you wear a military uniform, which we'll deal with that later on in the show.
Look, the only people other than congressmen who get free health care are members of the military. Sorry, but it's, and even that's changing because now they're starting to stiff the members of the military. TRICARE isn't even free anymore for members of the military. My issue is not with anything anybody in that crowd said, how they responded to him. I expected that. That's okay. I know that's how they're going to respond. My problem is with how he soft pedaled what he had to say. If you're going to take that kind of a risk, and if you're going to stand in front of a bunch of people and look, lay it on the line, Don't soft pedal shit for these people. They're out there standing up for what they believe in. And the thing that really pissed me off about what Hawk Newsome did, he didn't demand anything of those people. Nothing. He didn't say to them, now listen, this is what Black Lives Matter stands for. This is what we believe. This is what we want. But look, you all need to disavow the alt-right, the racist members among you. You all need to distance yourselves from these white people who want an ethno-state, which is just a white nation. That's just a nice term, a nice new term they came up with for an all-white nation, an ethno-state. That's all it is. He didn't say you need to stop supporting politicians who continue to pass laws that disenfranchise black people, and you need to stop supporting politicians who blindly support police unions and help police unions obfuscate investigations of police officers who murder people. He didn't demand anything of those people, nothing. But it was all him standing there basically begging white people to please accept Black Lives Matter. Please understand that Black Lives Matter. We aren't the bad guys. Please accept us in our struggle. And we've been doing this for too long for us to still be in the posture that we are begging white people to, or anybody for that matter, but that we are begging people to see us as human beings and as Americans like you are, so that you can maybe possibly see it in your heart to support justice and equality for us. We need to stop that crap. And I'm angry because of the way he presented what he said, because that's how it came off. That's all it was. But I'm also angry at all these progressive white people who are sharing this stuff, echoing that, oh, this is how it's done, and this is the way we need to have conversation. No, the time for conversation is over. The time for we can't, if this is the way the conversation has to go for white progressives to want to be in on the conversation, I'm not talking. Because I don't have time with our cousins in grad school. Mm-hmm. You know, with our grandbabies, with our 3 grandbabies, with my nephews, my 3 nephews, and our little niece now. We don't have time to soft pedal any of this for you. We don't have time to make you feel good about the hell that we're not only going through. It's not that we're living in hell, but many of us are going through hell on many levels. And that's only going to get worse. We don't have time to sit here and make this conversation nice and pleasant and comfortable and palatable for you. We've been having this conversation for 400 years, actually longer. And every generation, every single generation of white people responds the exact same way. Mm-hmm. Well, I understand that's unfair, and something really should be done about it, but then you don't actually do anything about it. Because believe me, you all are the ones who are in a position to actually do something about it. And that's true just by sheer numbers. That's just sheer numbers. And then when you don't do anything to push the politicians to do what even you admit is right, because you feel like it's going to inconvenience you at some point, then we get angry and frustrated and we take to the streets. Then you get mad at us because we're in the streets and we're inconveniencing your little life. Then you're mad at us because we keeping you from going to your shops, and we keeping you from, going out to your Starbucks and having your latte, and we're blocking traffic. And then you're mad at us because we're inconveniencing you. And then you turn around and tell us, well, this is not the way to do it. You're not going to win any people to your cause by doing it this way. But you're the same people who told us, I understand that this is wrong and unjust and something needs to be done about it, but you didn't do anything about it. So you can't continue to have it both ways. And now it's like 3 ways. You can't continue to have it. You can't continue to have this whole issue however way you want it, and nothing gets done. And black people, we can't keep begging white people to accept or to see us. No, because this is what it is. We can't keep begging white people to please see us as Americans like they are and as human beings like they are, and hope that they can, find it in their heart to want to fight for justice for us too. We got to stop begging people to see us as equal. Why is that a question still? I should not have to convince you. If I have to convince you that I am deserving of the same rights under the law that you have, you're not my ally, and I can't make you my ally.
Mm-mm.
And all the time that I'm spending trying to make you my ally, more of us are dying. Why? Because you don't think we deserve any rights. Do you see the cyclical, vicious? We can't continue to do this thing like this, y'all. We can't continue to pretend like, oh, this is a kumbaya moment and, this is how things need to be done. What happened with these folks from Black Lives Matter in New York is exactly how it shouldn't be done.
That's right.
Now, I'm not saying he should have got up there and cussed the people out like perhaps Jacqueline would have done. I wouldn't have. That's not true. I wouldn't have cussed him out. But the soft pedaling, we got to stop that. And we have to demand some things of people who claim they want to listen to us and they claim they want to be our allies. You can't just, this isn't, we don't have time to be making friends just for the sake of making friends. The question really needs to be for black people, what are you going to do to fight for justice and equality for us? And that includes reparations. If you can't get down with that, then we can't get down together.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, the thing real quick before we go to the other story.
No, we ain't going to go to the other story.
Oh, we're not? Okay, because he got some stuff.
Yeah, because there's another side to this.
Okay, there is another side. But let me go to let me take my pen out real quick, my pen. So the group from New York, this Black Lives Matter group from New York, black people, when we organize, we got to stop disrespecting other black people. We really have to stop doing that. Because this group from New York was not the local Black Lives Matter group in D.C. There is a Black Lives Matter group in D.C. They were not involved in this. The group from New York didn't communicate at all with the group from D.C. So people were thinking that this was the group from D.C. and people are like, yo, what are y'all doing? And the group from D.C. is having to deal with this fallout and they're like, what? You all didn't even talk to us. We got to stop doing that. Now, I don't know these people. I think we talked to one of them maybe in Richmond. I can't remember. I remember seeing one.
I remember seeing them down there.
Yeah, but we can't disrespect each other's. We can't step on each other's toes like that, y'all, and just walk away like it's nothing. Because now you leave another group of people who are in the same fight with a bad taste in their mouth, dealing with some baggage that you created. And that's not cool. We can't do that. So let me throw it over to my honey over here, so he can because I'm waiting for what you have to say.
It's not. I don't have really anything much to expound on. I just see a different, and I can't even say it's a different take. I mean, what you were saying. Basically, I watched the video. I seen what was going on. But there's a few things here, and I'm going to make this as brief as I can so we can move on. First of all, let me put it this way look, I always come with this disclaimer that I'm going to say things, but I'm just going to offend people. That's just the way it is. But
Yes.
But let me say this, is first of all, if I was in charge of Black Lives Matter, New York, number one, I wouldn't even been at the fucking rally.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna tell you why I wouldn't have been at the rally. Who came to the rally? A bunch of bikers. A couple people that was on there was illiterate as hell. A bunch of Walmart workers. No offense to Walmart workers, but what I mean by that is a bunch of underskilled, undereducated, basically, poor white trash that we used to call them.
And that's not like an exaggeration.
But
There is a video.
I mean, we've seen them.
Right.
So you're
right.
talking about poor white trash. What the fuck can they do for me?
Oh my. What?
So,
Say it again.
So what I'm saying is, why am I appealing to them? They can't even keep coal mining jobs for themselves in West Virginia. They can't even get a steel mill plant built in Ohio. They can't even get the steel mills open up in Pennsylvania. They can't even get jobs where they're at. You go out there through where the Rust Belt is at, where all those Make America Great single fans come from, and it's a damn desolate industrial wasteland out there. So what the fuck am I going to try to ask them to understand? You can't do shit for yourself.
Come on now.
So first of all, it's a waste of time. I would have not been there. And the reason why, and I usually don't swear much, but this is where this is the result, Jackie, of young people with all the zeal and all the energy in the world. And ain't got no damn guidance from the veterans of the movement.
And don't want it.
And don't want it. And you know what happens when you feel that youth is all you need? Then you get played, because he got played.
Oh my gosh.
He got played, and the white guy on the stage knew that he had a damn mouse, because he got up there and he said, "Oh no, wait, I'm gonna let him talk." See, now I was always told back in the day, because I love music and stuff. I was always told back in the day, you don't rehearse on stage.
Oh.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So even if me and you in a band, Jackie, and we Peaches and Herb or whatever, and we go see somebody else sing, and that singer comes and say, "Jackie, y'all want to do a song?" We got our shit down packed that no matter where we go, reunited and it feels so good. I mean, so what I'm saying is that is what organizing. That's what organized. See, the old civil rights, as much as people don't like to use them, what they used to do was they used to have workshops.
Yes.
And see, workshops was that this is how you respond in this situation. This is what you say when you ask this. This is how you perform when you got to do this. And if they come at you like this is how you behave. But see, one of the things about Black Lives Matter, which I think is their biggest weakness, is the fact that they don't have any central leadership. Now, in the beginning, people looked at that and say, "Oh, wow, that's a genius, because, you can't target anybody. You can't do this. That was fine when Black Lives Matter was small."
Right.
But see, I don't care, Jackie. Whenever you start something, you got to be able to control the narrative. So when you're not in the leadership position, then you allow any fool, Tom, Dick, and Harry to come in, throw a red, black, and green shirt on, put Black Lives Matter on there, and get played like my man did.
Yep.
Now, had they would have took advantage of some leadership, if there was some veterans, that was there, they were like, "What the fuck you going in front of a bunch of poor ass white people trying to appeal to them for?" First of all, what you said earlier about not debating with racists, that's one of the reasons why they didn't come to listen.
Thank you.
See, they didn't come to listen. And had the young man would have been a little bit more politically astute, he would have had some training and not just train how to shout slogans. Because I listened to him up on the stage or try to articulate Black Lives Matter position. It was pathetic. And I'm going to tell you why it was pathetic. Because first of all, and I'm glad you brought out that point, because I had written that point down too. I'm glad you brought out the point that that all of this was, well, we don't need nothing from you. So I said, okay, you just screwed up on that one. Then the other one is, "Oh, I'm an American." You just screwed up on that one. Because, nigga, if you was an American, you wouldn't have to be in Black Lives Matter.
Come on. If they looked at you as an American and a human being in the first place, we wouldn't need Black Lives Matter.
So like Malcolm said, if you was American, you've been treated like American. So the fact that you say you're American, you made your first mistake. And then number two is when you said, and you was correct when you said this, is that they cheered for that because they know that it don't mean nothing Negro when it comes to you. That's why they cheered.
Yep.
They cheered because they know it don't mean nothing when they come to you. And then number two, they cheered because, see, blackness in this country, we said this on our show, blackness in this country, and this is the reason why we ain't got a lot of friends in this country, why even the so-called diehard progressives don't always be with us, why they don't have a problem packing their suitcases running to Standing Rock, they don't have no problem marching for DACA and all this stuff and for the Dreamers. But the reason why it's hard for them to stand with us, because, see, we got screwed over so much. See, our problems are complicated. People don't like complicated stuff.
Right.
So if I could go up there and lay myself in front of a bulldozer and stop a pipeline, then I've done something. Or if I could go hand in arm with the Dreamers and say, no, we need to keep them in the country, which black folks need to be careful about that. But, oh, I've done something. Or if I could throw a rainbow flag over the White House, I've done something and say, oh, yeah, they should be allowed to marry. But then when you get to the colored folk, the black folk in America,
right.
and you see all the different avenues
Yep.
that we've been screwed over, it's like, oh, I don't know if I want to deal with that. And so the thing of it is that when he put that that he's an American, and they cheered, and then when he said African-American, because they know that blackness comes with some stuff.
And like you said, it's complicated stuff.
Right.
It's not like, oh, we can do this one thing and solve this problem.
Right.
You know,
right.
like just like when you brought up Standing Rock. I'm so glad you brought that up again, because I always make this point. We make such a big deal about, Standing Rock, the pipeline issue. But Native Americans deal with other issues that those very same people
have almost the same stuff we deal with.
The same stuff. Has anybody, where's the sexy hashtag for Native Americans dying of tuberculosis in 2017?
Or where's the sexy hashtag of Native women having high incidences of rape?
Right.
Drug abuses on the reservations, all this other kind of stuff.
But see, that's complex. That's complicated stuff. But stopping a pipeline, oh, that's simple. I can do that.
Right. So again, so the young man, like I said, Black Lives Matter shouldn't even been there. And another thing too, if I can look at my notes.
You better come on here.
It also exposed. Okay. It also exposed too that I see when you mentioned about the white progressives and their slow response to a lot of this stuff. White folks' slow response, even if they on the other side. Their slow response to all of this stuff. The reason why you can only get a sad emoji when you talk about a black girl in the freezer.
Right.
But nobody asks for what can we do about this to stop it from next time.
Right.
The reason why that I put a story on our page today about how black job discrimination hasn't changed since 1989, damn near 30 years ago. But the discrimination for black folks in employment hasn't changed. And you get a sad emoji, or you get this, and somebody put it on your post, said, yeah, well, that's how it is. First hired, last fired.
Right.
And I couldn't comment because I'm saying to myself, see, this is the freaking problem. Yeah. See, the freaking problem is that we have become desensitized to black suffering and black pain and black this. So the thing of it is the fact that we take this as the sun rising up in the morning.
Right.
That's just the way things are. And so the way that black folks have to do it, and I'm gonna wrap this up, is number one, again, we have to stop with this, as our girl says, Yvette Carnell, I agree, we have to stop with this conservative ideology of we can do for ourselves. Because there's a story, and we're gonna cover this story, but there's a story of that we can't do for ourselves because we ain't got no money. Number two, we can't do for ourselves because, as you see, we don't even have a community. We got black politicians who are serving as the gatekeepers to keep the rest of us down while they get their little trinkets.
Right.
And so, how are we going to do for self? In order to do for self, you got to have some resources. We ain't got that. And then number two, it also exposed how the white folks don't want to give up the status quo.
Nope, not even the well-meaning ones.
That was my point. They don't want to give up the status quo. They with you when you start talking about Black Lives Matter. They'll come down there. They'll come down there when you know, like up in St. Louis where the old white woman got ran over by the cops and everything, and I applaud her for that. They
Being like
with
John
you on
Brown.
that. They with you on some of those things, but you start talking about y'all gotta give up some of that money.
Right. What you gonna put in our pocket?
Y'all got to give up some of that money, and because see, look, when somebody steal from you, now dig this here now. When somebody steal from you, it's only right that the thief tell you you don't want it back.
Yeah. You don't need this.
You don't need
Do you
this
really
back.
need it?
Yeah.
Have you missed it?
Yeah.
Come on now.
So you know, I don't give a damn what they did with the money they stole. A thief is a thief. Like a man said to me one time, they was talking about the Israeli-Palestinian thing, and he said, "Oh, the Jewish guy." I said, "Well, you know, you should have, you know, before we got there, which is a lie. Before we got there, it was just a desert. Like Palestinians wasn't doing nothing. But we know that's a lie. But look what we did to the desert. Man, I mean, you know, we turned the desert into an oasis and we did this and we did that. But a thief is a thief.
A thief is
You could come in our house
thief.
right now and occupy our house and remodel it to where it's immaculate.
And it could be an architectural design.
You're
And
still a thief.
thank you.
You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is that this should be a lesson to young activists everywhere. Youth is not enough.
It's, oh my God.
Youth is just not enough.
No.
It's a reason why every developed civilization around the planet have been set up where you got your council, your elders, which are mostly there to guide the young, and the young go out to war and they go out to do this and they go out to do that, but they work in harmony because the old can't do it much anymore.
Right.
But see, we have to get out of this mindset in this country that because you reach the age of whatever, that you're no longer relevant. And so what's happening is our kids are getting played out.
I mean,
because they don't have the experience to deal with this.
Yeah, and this was just such, oh my God, this was so. I looked at the comments that people made, you know, that people were making on this video. And, you know, all of these, you know, oh, this is how it should be done. And yes, this is the Black Lives Matter I can support. And, you know, this is the Black Lives Matter I remember.
Of course it is.
Of course it is. That nobody's asking anything of you.
I mean, look, once the Indians, look, you know, I mean, Booker T. Washington, the white folks, when he did the compromise, what the white Southerners say? Oh, well, this is our man right here.
Yeah, we can get behind him.
Yeah. I mean, the same way with the Native Americans that went along with their crap. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, so now they civilized now. Why? Because now we are calling the shots. It's the same way there. When they said, oh, this is the Black Lives Matter, you know why? Because they cut their cojones off.
Come on.
So now it's like, oh, we neutered you. So yeah, so now, you know, you ain't a threat to us anymore. When you get up there, man, I don't give a damn. Like I said, first of all, they should have been there. But not because, see, Black Lives Matter should be at a stage now in their development where it should be a political movement. It should be and I mean, you know, I may have people second guess me for this, but when are we going to get past the shouting?
Right.
See, there has to be to where Black Lives Matter and any other organization that's for this type of justice. Now, white folks, we let you know that this bothers us. Now, you know what? It's no longer about trying to convince you. It ain't no longer about trying to gain your sympathy. It ain't no longer to try to educate you. No, see, now what we need to do now is we need to organize to the point where you politicians now, forget the poor ass white folks that can't do nothing for us. No, what we need to do is go into the halls of power and be like, yo, you coming up for election, right? So what you feel about this? Oh, well, let's say, well, you out. And then what we're going to do, we're going to work everything in our power to make sure you don't have that seat back. And we'll run our own candidates. And we'll do that. That should be the next movement.
Exactly.
That should be the next thing. But I'd be damned if I'm going to sit out there with a bunch of bikers. That one biker me and you saw on the video, he couldn't even form a complete sentence. And I'm supposed to care about what he thinks.
I'm laughing. I'm laughing because it was funny thinking about, we'll share that video. I'll share the video too. You'll get that video too. So you can see how ridiculous some of these people, I mean, I'm laughing.
He just came out of a laboratory.
He did. I swear he looked like he left the meth lab that day. He did. And he was like, you know, there should be, everybody should follow the rule of law. But then we 1%ers outlaw biker gangs who are known criminals now. Who have probably killed people. Well, no, we follow a law unto our own.
That's crazy. But,
so, go ahead.
No, what I'm saying is, I know we need to move on, but what I'm saying is the fact that, yeah, brother, if I could talk to you, don't ever tell white folks that we don't want nothing from them. Yes, we do. You know why? Because, first of all, we have been dispossessed of the wealth. We built this country. Let me make this simple and clear. America would not have been America economically or anything else if they did not take advantage of free labor. That not only slavery, because see, we leave it at that. No, what about the neo-slavery that came after that?
Right, that's right.
What about all the different forms of slavery that they came up with in order to continue to benefit from free or damn near free labor?
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
So you could become an economic powerhouse when you keeping the money in your pocket.
Right.
When you ain't got to pay nobody.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we got to understand, man, that type of injustice can't just let by because you're afraid that it might hurt somebody's feelings.
Right. I mean, and the same way people use economic arguments about economic vehicles like MMT or whatever to argue for free college tuition and Medicare for all. You can use that for that, but you can't use it for reparations. The hell if you won't. The hell if MMT can get us all Medicare for all, if MMT can get us a jobs, well, I guess MMT, no, if MMT can get us a jobs guarantee, if MMT can get our tuition relief, then MMT can get us reparations. But see, we don't even need MMT.
But let me say this one thing, is that if white folks, and I know I'm generalizing and I know it ain't all of y'all, but those that think this way, if you think that it's a handout, then it is. Because you know why I say that?
Why?
Because your damn ancestors that came over here as indentured servants, when the government was giving out that damn free land and slaves to get them on their feet, damn it, the hell they took it.
They took a handout.
You know what I mean?
That's right. They did.
They took it when Roosevelt came with the New Deal.
Handouts.
And with the WPA and all that other kind of stuff. You took it.
Handouts.
When the government came with the GI Bill for all of y'all fighting and stuff like that, y'all didn't come back from the war and say, well, we were just doing our patriotic duty. We don't need anything from the government. No, you took advantage of the GI Bill.
Mm-hmm. Handouts.
So please, if you think it's a handout, well, damn it the hell, that's what it is.
That's exactly what it is.
About time that we took one now.
Thank you. Oh, that felt good getting that. It was so cathartic.
It is.
So I just mentioned, we don't really need MMT to get what we want. You know why? You know why we don't need MMT to get what we want? And I'm not saying that I'm against MMT. I'm not. I believe in MMT, modern monetary theory. I agree with it. I think it's true. I think it's real. Here's the thing. Our government just passed how much? How much is that thing?
$700 billion.
$700 billion defense budget.
Yep.
More money than Donald Trump himself actually wanted. Please don't keep telling me that politicians don't know that they can spend money wherever they want on whatever they want. Yes, they do. They just literally don't want to spend money on stuff for us. So let's see. What's the article that you brought up about this? $700 billion. Oh my, that number is so obscene. It's like, it makes me feel filthy just saying it. Is your screen up? Okay. You got it?
Well, because I'm over here in the dark ages. I'm trying to. But you go ahead. I'll get it.
Okay, so, let me go to the window capture. That's what I'll do. I'll go to the window capture so you can see this ridiculousness. Oh my God. Senate passes $700 billion Pentagon bill. More money than Trump sought. I hope you can see that better. So you can scroll down and see it. This is the thing. We all these progressives who are, they're so mad. They're so mad at the Democrats. Oh my God, Hillary and her book. Let's protest Hillary's book tour. Fuck Hillary and her book tour.
That's what I say.
Fuck Book her in a bookstore. Let that woman have her book. She rich anyway. The money she's going to make off her book is like pocket change compared to how much money she already has. Come on, y'all.
She's still getting paid for Wall Street.
Look.
You know what I mean?
She's still getting paid for locking our cousins up.
Yep.
That woman is still getting paid from Alec. Come on. So this is the thing. In a rare act of bipartisanship on Capitol Hill, the Senate passed a $700 billion defense policy bill on Monday that sets forth a muscular vision of America as a global power. Oh my God, that's so ridiculous. That is so damn ridiculous. As if we're not already like the bullies on the block of the world.
Well, you know what all this comes from.
What is it?
Well, because we spoke about this before we came on tonight, is that there was an incident out in Camp Lejeune, I think in California somewhere, and they had a couple of Marines who unfortunately lost their life during training. So McCain saw it and he seized on it, and he went back, and he's a hawk anyway, so he went back and he said, the military it doesn't have updated equipment. And the troops are not being protected, and the training is bad. And, it's what they look. I remember being a kid when Carter was a president. I remember how the same argument was used back then. The United States military is weak, and we have to strengthen the military. And I remember Carter, as naive as he was then, he did a press conference where he went on TV and basically said, we're not weak. I mean, we can destroy every city in the Soviet Union.
I remember that. I remember that. Yeah, I do.
Right,
I do.
Right. It's like we're not weak. But see, the thing of it is that was during the time when Reagan was coming. And so what happened with Carter was during the Iranian hostage situation, and when he sent the Delta Force in there and something happened and the Delta Force crash landed, it wasn't a successful military mission.
Right.
And those things happen. I don't care how well your military is, shit happens. And so what happened was the GOP jumped on that and said, see, our military is weak. They couldn't even go get the hostages. So I mean, I've been hearing this argument, man, like for most of my life. Every time that the military is never strong enough. We got to strengthen our military. So much so, Jackie, like you said, is that you got more than what Trump asked for. And the fact that this goes in hand with Trump going to the UN today, basically telling the world, we're just, you mess with us, we're just going to just blow you up.
Right.
America first, we're just going to blow you up.
He really might as well have stood there and said those exact words.
Right,
America first, fuck what else, we're going to blow you up.
Yeah, we're just going to blow you up.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, by the way, we don't want war.
I mean,
by the way, we don't want war.
By the way, I mean, it would be, if it weren't true, if we weren't seeing this with our own eyes, we would swear this is like a Monty Python movie. It is, but the thing that you said about hearing this excuse for beefing up the military all of your life. Every single time. And another thing that happens, and I can't remember where we talked about this. I can't remember if it was in Brick by Brick or if we talked about it on an episode here. Every time a president has sagging ratings, like public opinion polls, what does he do?
Oh yeah, well I mean that is in the presidential handbook.
Yeah,
you got to kill some dark people.
You got to kill some. When the American people start to dislike you, drop some bombs on some dark people to boost your rate. And Donald Trump is hated by most of the people in this country. Most of the people who voted for him now have serious buyer's remorse. Honestly, because he's not white supremacist enough.
Right. Exactly.
That's a whole nother show. But his ratings are so low, he's just doing what other presidents have done. Every single president before him, including beloved Obama. When their ratings dipped a little bit, they went and bombed some people. Because we love that. Because that's America.
Exactly.
That's what we...
Exactly.
So this is the quote. I got this up on the screen, and it's highlighted for what McCain said. This was the whole reason. This was the entire reason that this bipartisan bill was passed in the Senate to give the Department of Defense $700 billion
Yeah.
with a B. McCain said, in arguing for the increased funding, McCain cited a string of recent deadly accidents involving the military, including a collision last month between an oil tanker and the destroyer John S. McCain. See, that's what it was. His feelings were hurt because the destroyer that was named after him,
got sunk. Yeah, you know
his little ego was bruised.
Right.
Named for the senator's father and grandfather, 10 sailors were killed and 5 others injured. Explain to me what $700 billion is going to do to keep this kind of thing from happening. So McCain said, we are gambling with the lives of the best among us, and we're now seeing the cost, the tragic but foreseeable cost of an overworked, strained force with aging equipment and not enough of it. Oh, my God. Anyway.
But see, again, going back to the Trumpers. Mm-hmm. Now, again, you got these poor white folks out there who all they got is their whiteness.
That's it.
That's all they got is their whiteness. And they're out there. Most of them are going back to their trailer parks and to wherever whatever hovels they come from. And so what happened is these same folks will see that story, $700 billion to the military, and they'll cheer this. Mm-hmm. You know what?
Yep.
See, and they'll cheer this, even though they're not going to be able to get they're not going to get any kind of decent health care.
Nope.
They're not going to get any decent jobs to return. Mm-mm. They're not, the coal mines aren't opening back up. None of these things are going to happen. But they'll sit up there and cheer that because that is all they got. Yep. Let me tell you something. For those who haven't bought into it, if you want to really know something, what was so sad about the American Empire is the fact that you look at all these other countries around the world where they're investing in people. Mm-hmm. Right now, we can list a whole bunch of countries that got like universal health care and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. Even China, the one that Trump demonizes so much, have already started to invest heavily in their infrastructure and to combat climate change and all these other things. We have become, because of this white supremacy, it's not just Trump, and because of this white supremacy, we have become a malignant wart on the ass of the world.
That's great.
I'm serious.
I love that.
We have become a malignant wart on the ass of the world because now that we're dealing with another Category 5 hurricane,
right,
and now that we're dealing with all this stuff, and here you got the richest nation on the planet that's ran by a bunch of fools sitting up there that don't want to cooperate with the world to save the planet, don't want to cooperate with the world to find peaceful means to solve problems, don't want to cooperate. We are the malignant wart on the ass of the world, and the world is tired of it. If you would have seen the United Nations today watched the faces of those leaders, if they had, and this is the thing, if they thought they could get away with it, we would have been invaded.
I believe you. I believe that. I believe, because there was a point at which Trump tried to disparage socialism, which is an ignorant thing to do, considering that so many of the United Nations countries are socialist. So he tries to disparage socialism, and the people in the members of the United Nations Assembly laughed at him. The President of the United States was laughed at in the Assembly of the United Nations. If you don't understand the gravity of that, then you don't really understand politics. You certainly don't understand global politics, which most Americans don't. And I'm gonna cut people some slack on that, because global politics is complex. It's not really, but it just requires us to trust sources of information outside of our own government.
Right.
That's all. But to have members of our allied nations. These weren't like people who hate us. These were members of our allied nations
Exactly.
who were laughing at the president of the United States because he said something like, the problem with socialism isn't that it wasn't fully implemented. The problem with socialism is that it was fully implemented. And people who are living or who are the heads of these highly successful countries where the government is socialist are like, what is he talking about?
Right, exactly.
Where is there a problem with socialism? So then he tries to bring up Venezuela, which shows his ignorance because he doesn't understand what's happening in Venezuela. And of course, he's not going to admit that a part of the reason Venezuela's in the mess we're in is because of us.
Because of U.S. involvement in their politics.
Again, because of U.S. neoliberal politics. But Donald Trump doesn't know what neoliberalism is. You and I know what neoliberalism is. And if you're not sure, go on over to Brick by Brick. We got a whole series on neoliberalism. Whole series. But see, we're at a time in our political history as a country where, like we've said before, Donald Trump had to be president. He had to be. Because if Hillary Clinton had won, most people would still be thinking that everything is great. All of this focus people have on government corruption, and even though people are just obsessed with the DNC lawsuit now, which, okay, I get that it upsets you, but how long have we told you that the DNC won't shit? Seriously. I mean, did you think we were just talking about one Democrat? No, the whole thing, all of them, the entire organization, just as bad as the GOP. And it wasn't just us. It was W.E.B. Du Bois. How many times do I have to bring that up? W.E.B. Du Bois back in 1956 said that he wasn't going to vote in that election because both parties are two wings of the same evil bird.
That's it.
We didn't come up with that in 2016 because we were mad at the DNC. We saw that back in 1956, and America didn't listen then. So now we had to get to the point in the history of this country where everybody had to see what people who have been on the bottom have been saying all along. Trump was the only way that was going to happen. Mm-hmm. Because people didn't pay any attention to the stuff that Obama was doing, that Trump has continued to do. I mean, remember, we talked about the HBCU executive order. That was the same executive order that Obama issued. It wasn't different. The only thing Trump did was move the office of HBCU, the presidential panel on HBCU from one office to another. That's all he did. It was that executive order was the exact same language from Obama's. The Muslim ban that was based on the temporary Muslim ban that came, the temporary travel ban that came from the Obama administration, same countries, same language, just about. The only difference was that Obama's was temporary. It was like 9 months. The wars in Obama increased troop levels in Afghanistan. I don't understand why you're freaked out that Trump is doing it.
Well, see, this is the thing, and see, we had another story, but because of time, we ain't gonna be able to get to it.
No.
Well, we can't because it's a weekday. People gotta go to work, So I understand, but we're gonna do that other story another time. But I'll just say this, and we have to wrap this up. Is that I see something a little bit more sinister here with the $700 billion.
Oh, what's that?
I see that the $700 billion is, I can't say rearming America because, damn it to hell, how many more clips do you need? But you're going to see, and I hope I'm wrong about this, but you're going to see America, you're going to see a ratcheting up of World War III. And the $700 billion is preparing the military to ratchet up World War III. We're going to go to war with North Korea. There's no doubt about that. That's going to get China involved. China's going to get involved because China has already said that that they would defend North Korea. We got people in the White House now, Jackie, in the president's house. I said I wasn't going to use the White House no more. But we have people in the president's house that is going to drive this damn car, and this car is the United States, off the cliff no matter who be damned. Because, see, we don't see history. There's a reason why that the Nazi regime is the most studied and documented in recent history. Their rise and fall. Because, see, white supremacy produced Hitler.
Wow.
And white supremacy produced the Nazis. And in thus producing the Nazis led the, humanity on the brink of into World War II, which cost 60 million lives.
Oh my gosh.
So now we are on the precipice again of World War III. Some people say we're already in World War III, but here we are on the precipice of World War III. Once again, white supremacy produced the Trump, and it's producing and it has produced this neocon ideology, philosophy that surrounded him. This white supremacist nationalist attitude is not much different than National Socialism in a way. And what's happening is that Hitler inherited German ingenuity and German military might. And now white supremacy, which produced Trump, and Trump inherited what? American military might and American scientific and manufacturing ingenuity. And when those forces come together, it always meant disaster for the rest of us. And that $700 billion is secretly given to the Pentagon because you're going to see within the next year or so, during Trump's presidency, you're going to see a ratcheting up of World War III. And that's what I see coming.
Wow. I mean, it can't. I don't know how many times we have said, if you had just listened to us a long time ago, if you had just listened to us, and by us, yes, I do mean black and brown people. Yeah, I do, because people are all shocked and surprised. Oh my God, how can this happen? We saw this coming because we've lived it before. We've lived iterations of it before. We've had many Trumps before. And we knew that if the issues that the people on the bottom of American society were not addressed, then those issues would grow to affect everybody else in this country. That's just common sense, right? You've got a small infection. If you don't treat the infection, it spreads to the rest of the body. I don't see how Americans couldn't have seen that this was coming. We did. This is why so many black people have been fighting for so long for justice. Because see, when everybody in a society has what they need, then nobody really has a need to fight over stuff.
That's it. That's exactly it.
That's the thing. Right? I mean, the idea of giving everyone what they need to make sure that everyone's basic needs are met. That's why other countries are happier than America is. And living longer. Yeah, we've got stuff, but other countries have their needs met so that they can live their lives and pursue their personal. They can actually pursue life, liberty, and happiness.
Exactly.
We're still fighting over the right to that. That's our problem. And we've been fighting for it. We've been fighting for it for 500 years. Actually, it's been 5. I've been saying 4. It's really been 5 in this country. So really, what every conversation we have seems to boil down to is, listen, man, if y'all don't fight for justice for black and brown people, if you all are not willing to fight for justice for the people on the bottom, you will never get yours.
But I will tell you this: don't call me for the next war.
No.
Don't call me for the next war because and don't call none of mine for the next war because you know what? Because if history showed me anything, is that when we did come back from the war, we still ain't get nothing.
Oh, and that's
so you know what? It's time for us to say, if you can't support us, then it's time for us to say, well, you know what, America, you're on your own on this one.
Yeah, we're sitting the next one out. And when we do our next show, we are going to start with, on that note, with how much we have been denied, not lost, because we never had it. How much we've been denied since we've been here, and how much worse it's going to get. and why we honestly do not have time to sit around and play kumbaya and make people feel good and make friends while we're in this fight. We don't have time. So, thanks y'all for joining us. Share this video, like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube page, invite your friends to subscribe, support us on Patreon, become a monthly patron, or help us with a one-time donation on, what is it called? PayPal. We are going to start up a GoFundMe for a documentary that we are beginning to film. We are in the pre-production stages. I'm so excited about this. We're focusing on Baltimore after the fire. That's the working title for now. It might change, but we're going to start going to Baltimore to take some stills. We're in pre-production right now. We need equipment. We need funds. So look out for the GoFundMe for that. That's coming very soon. Did I say share? Yes, I said share.
That's right. Not Sunny, but just share. I know.
Yeah, it's time to go to bed. Thanks, y'all, for joining us this week. This is Jackie Lukman.
And I'm Abdul Shahid Lukman.
And this is Lukman Nation. Have a good night.